There is something happening in your bathroom every single morning. Something quiet, something invisible, and it may be doing more damage to your heart than anything else in your day. You are not doing it on purpose. You do not even know it is happening, but your body knows. And this morning, it happened again. Emotional setup. There are mornings when the house is very quiet before you even get out of bed. You wake slowly the way you do now, and you lie still for a moment, listening. Maybe the sound of a clock, maybe nothing at all. You know this feeling, the particular stillness of a morning that belongs entirely to you. Before the world asks anything of you, you rise, you make your way to the bathroom, you follow the same routine you have followed for decades. It feels safe, familiar, harmless. But in that quiet, familiar routine, something your doctor may never have mentioned is adding pressure, real physical pressure, to a heart that has already carried so much. You are not failing. You simply were never told. Credibility bridge. Cardiologists and physicians who work closely with patients over the age of 65 have identified a pattern. Small, repeated behaviors that happen in the bathroom every single day that quietly push blood pressure higher than it needs to be. These are not dramatic events. They are ordinary moments, and that is precisely what makes them so easy to miss. And that is why what you are about to hear matters more than you realize. We will get to point 4 in a moment, and I want you to pay very close attention when we do, because it is the one that most people dismiss, and it is the one that changes everything. And we have not even reached the habit that doctors say is the most overlooked of all. That comes next. Core content. Now we discuss 5 points. Point 1. Gentle awareness. Hot showers feel healing. But for your heart, they may be the opposite. When you step into a hot shower, your blood vessels dilate rapidly in response to the heat. Your heart, sensing the shift, works harder to maintain circulation. For someone over 65, this brief cardiovascular strain, repeated every single morning, creates a pattern of small spikes that compound over time. Many seniors find hot showers comforting, especially first thing in the morning. Nobody has told them the comfort may come at a cost. There was a man named Raymond, 73 years old, who had taken a hot shower every morning for over 40 years. He was not unhealthy. He walked his neighborhood, watched what he ate, visited his doctor. One routine check showed his blood pressure consistently elevated in the mornings. His doctor eventually asked him a question he had never been asked before. "How hot is your shower?" Raymond had no answer. He had never thought to think about it. For a heart that is already working hard with age, consistent morning heat exposure adds a silent daily burden. By the time a person feels it, the pattern has often been set for years. A cooler shower, not cold, just not scalding, gives your heart a quieter start to the day. Point 2. Gentle awareness. The act of straining on the toilet creates a pressure surge your body was never designed to repeat daily. When you hold your breath and bear down, as many people unconsciously do every morning, your body performs what physicians call the Valsalva maneuver. In that brief moment, intrathoracic pressure rises sharply, blood flow to the heart is temporarily restricted, and when it releases, there is a sudden surge. For someone over 65, especially someone with already elevated blood pressure, this surge happens in the quietest, most private moment of their day. Nobody sees it. Nobody counts it. But the heart feels every one. A woman named Dorothy, 71, told her daughter one morning that she sometimes felt briefly dizzy after using the bathroom. Her daughter assumed it was nothing. Dorothy assumed it was age. It was, in part, but it was also a pattern of breath-holding she had carried for decades, now asking a price she could no longer afford to pay quietly. Breathing slowly and not straining, allowing the body to work gently and at its own pace, is not laziness. It is one of the most protective things you can offer your heart in any given morning. But here is something I want you to sit with for a moment before we continue. How many mornings have passed? How many thousands of quiet moments in that same room, where something small was asking something of your heart, and neither of you knew? Point 3. Deeper realization. Standing up too quickly from the toilet is one of the most overlooked blood pressure dangers in older adults. After sitting, the blood in your body is pooled downward. When you stand quickly, as most people do without thinking, your heart has to compensate rapidly, pumping harder to push blood back up to your brain and vital organs. In younger bodies, this adjustment happens almost instantly. After the age of 65, it takes longer, and in that gap, blood pressure fluctuates in ways that put real stress on the cardiovascular system. The dizzy feeling some seniors describe when they stand. That is the body negotiating something it used to do automatically. A man named Harold, 77, had told his children for 2 years that he sometimes felt a little off when he stood up in the morning. They told him to drink more water. He did. It helped a little. But the real issue was a matter of 5 seconds. The 5 seconds he was not giving his body before rising. His doctor, when he finally mentioned it, said it was among the most common things he saw in patients Harold's age, and among the least discussed. Simply pausing, sitting at the edge before standing, allowing your body one quiet breath before you rise, costs nothing. And it changes everything your heart has to do in that moment. If you've stayed with me this far, what comes next was written for you specifically. This is the point I promised at the beginning, the one that changes everything. Point 4, peak emotional weight. The first thing most seniors do in the morning is the one thing that silently thickens their blood before the day has even begun. You wake. You go to the bathroom. You do not drink water, not yet. Perhaps not for another 30 or 40 minutes after coffee, after routine. But during those hours of sleep, your body has been quietly losing water through breath and warmth. By morning, your blood is more concentrated, more viscous, and your heart must work harder to move it. Blood pressure, in this state, is measurably higher. And for a senior who spends those early bathroom minutes without hydrating, this is the peak window of cardiovascular strain, the very time when most cardiac events among older adults occur. A woman named Evelyn, 68, had read everything about her blood pressure. She took her medication faithfully. She walked every evening. But her pressure readings first thing in the morning were always the worst of the day. Her cardiologist, reviewing her journal, noticed she never drank water before her morning routine. 1 glass of water, before anything else, before the bathroom, before coffee, changed her morning readings within 2 weeks. She called it the simplest thing she had ever done for her health. This is the habit that matters most, because it is the one that requires the least effort and protects the most. 1 glass of water kept on your nightstand waiting for you when you open your eyes. Not after. Before. Your heart is asking for it every morning, in a language only your blood pressure can translate. Nobody is going to say this to your face, so I will. The bathroom, that quiet, private room where nobody watches and nobody counts, may be the room where your heart is working its hardest. And you deserve to know that. The last point, and the words I want to leave you with, are the reason I made this video. Stay with me. Point 5, the turning point. The most dangerous bathroom habit may not be what you do. It may be how long you ignore how you feel when you are done. Many seniors finish their morning bathroom routine and notice something. A brief shortness of breath, a slight heaviness in the chest, a moment where the room feels not quite right, and then they continue. They dismiss it as tiredness, as age, as something that does not deserve a phone call, a conversation, attention. This quiet dismissal, repeated across hundreds of mornings, is not weakness. It is the habit of a generation taught not to burden others. But the body is not burdening you. It is speaking to you. And after 65, you have earned the right to listen. There was a man named George, 74, who noticed for several months that something felt slightly wrong in his chest on mornings when he rushed his routine. He told no one. He had never been someone who made a fuss. One morning the feeling was different, heavier, longer. His wife called the ambulance. George survived. In the hospital, his cardiologist asked him how long the morning feelings had been happening. 7 months, George said. 7 months of quiet signals, carefully ignored. Paying attention is not weakness. It is the most important health habit you have left. Your body has lived long enough to know when something is wrong. The question is whether you will give it the dignity of being heard. What comes next is the part that will stay with you long after this video ends. Do not skip deep reflection segment. Think for a moment about how many mornings there have been. How many times you have stood in front of that mirror, in that small, quiet room, and looked at the face that has carried so much, the face that has worried and waited, and worked, and loved and lost, and kept going. That face has been there every morning. And most mornings you did not stop to look at it. You had things to do. There was always something waiting. Time moves in a way you understand now that you could not have understood at 30 or 40. It moves quietly, without announcement. One morning you are raising children. One morning the house is still. One morning the face in the mirror is older than you expected, and you are not sure exactly when it happened. The photographs on the wall show people who were here, and then were not. The routines that were once full of noise have grown soft and familiar, and yours alone. There are evenings when the quiet is very deep, when you think of things you never said, of time you wish had moved more slowly, of people you would give anything to sit with again just for one ordinary afternoon. That quiet is not empty. It is full. Full of everything that matters, everything that still does. And somewhere inside that quiet is a body that has not stopped working for you, not for a single morning, not once. It has asked for very little. It is asking for something now. Empowerment shift. You cannot undo the mornings that have already passed. No one can. But you are here, reading, listening, paying attention. And that is not a small thing. Awareness is not a consolation prize. It is the beginning of every real change that has ever happened in a person's life. The people who live long, who live well past the years when others begin to fade, are not extraordinary in ways that were given to them. They are extraordinary in the ordinary ways. The glass of water, the slower rising, the breath taken before straining, the moment of stillness before the day begins. These are not dramatic acts. They are quiet ones. And quiet acts, done faithfully, are the most powerful kind. You still have mornings ahead of you. Perhaps many more than you have allowed yourself to believe. Your heart has carried you this far without complaint, through things that would have broken someone who was not as strong as you. It is not asking for a new life from you. It is asking for 5 small things: a cooler shower, a slower breath, a patient rising, a glass of water, and the willingness to listen when it speaks. That is all. That is everything. And you are capable of every single one. Final closing. You came to this video perhaps because something quiet had been asking for your attention. A worry you had not named yet. A feeling that something was not quite right, but not wrong enough to mention. You know that feeling. You have carried it the way you carry most things, carefully, privately, without burdening anyone else. I want you to know that you were right to listen. That quiet voice was not fear. It was wisdom, the kind that only comes from having lived long enough to know what matters. The bathroom will be there again tomorrow morning. The same mirror, the same routine, the same quiet house. But perhaps something is different now. Something small, something important. Perhaps you will pause before you stand. Perhaps a glass of water will be waiting on the nightstand. Perhaps you will turn the dial a little cooler, breathe a little slower, and give yourself one moment, just one, before the day begins. Your heart has been waiting for that moment for a long time. It deserves it. And so do you. Take care of yourself, because time never waits. Call to action. If something in this video touched you, if it reminded you of something you have been quietly carrying, then share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you would like to continue this conversation, there is another video waiting for you that speaks to the silent signs your body shows after 70, that most people mistake for normal aging. I will see you there.